Hey YouTube, it is League Turnover today, and we have a Great League Color Cup that is actually going to be on for 2 weeks. So get used to this meta because it is on with Ultra League this week and Master League next week. So I think a lot of people are going to be stuck in this one. It is a 1500 CP league with 4 typings: Fire, Water, Grass, and Electric. My guess is that it's the sort of OG colors of the 3 starters and then Pikachu there. So the rankings are... just go back to this for a second. In theory, you should have everything beating 1, right? Water is going to beat fire. Fire is going to beat grass. Grass is going to beat electric. Electric is going to beat water. Of course, in practice, that does not actually happen because there are secondary typings, and those secondary typings really shake things up here. So right off the bat, we have Toxapex with a secondary typing of poison. Again, it's a water Pokemon, which should be weak to grass, but it is actually a poison Pokemon, which does super effective against grass. So the fact that you can hit super effective against grass, you can still resist fire, you can do well against your other water Pokemon. It is extremely bulky, makes just an easy top ranked Pokemon. So then on this list, you get a little bit of everything. You get some things that I did not expect to be on here, some things I do expect to be on here. Marowak is a now double buffed Pokemon this season, Fire Spin and Bone Club buffed. With Shadow Bone, having like your Bone Club for your Toxapex that are 1 ranked, plus having just Fire for the grass, and you do Ground for the electric. I think you just have a lot of coverage with that Pokemon. Quillfish is like one of the top ranked safe swaps in this meta because it is a very, very, very spammy Pokemon. Think Drapion-ish, right? You have the same first 2, Poison Sting, Aqua Tail, very spammy. Instead of Crunch, you have Ice Beam for your coverage for your either Flyers or Grass Pokemon, or those. And then you get some grass Pokemon in here. Jumpluff, Abomasnow. Both the shadows and non-shadows are sandwiched, same as Gastrodon here. You know, it shouldn't be surprising. Jumpluff has bulk, it's spammy, and it's going to beat a lot of the water Pokemon and neutral against flying, or electric, I should say, because you're half grass, half grass, half flying, which means you neutralize the electric. Whereas Abomasnow, same thing, where you're going to have a good time against grass Pokemon, you're going to have a good time against flying Pokemon, and you're going to resist electric, and at the same time, you are going to resist water. So Abomasnow should be pretty much everywhere. Obviously, it has a big issue in the first few Pokemon, right? Weak to poison, weak to fire. So the first Pokemon do have some play against it, but it should be pretty strong. And then you get into a bunch of like the Mud Boys, which shouldn't be surprising, right? Because when you are a Mud Boy, you still beat the grass. Sorry, you still beat the electric. The water. Sorry, wow. You beat the fire. You beat the electric, and then you're gonna do like neutralish against the water Pokemon with your other moves. So Gastrodon, Quagsire, not surprised that they're up there. Then you got some electric. Zapdos, Emolga, and Morpeko. I've already gone over Morpeko in a couple of videos now. It is a very, very, very strong Pokemon. So spammy, so hard hitting. Change form actually helps you a lot, right? So if electric is resisted on the grass, you throw you throw Psychic Fangs first, but it's almost sometimes more beneficial just to go Aura Wheel and just boost your attack and do like a decent amount of damage. But you can kind of see what your Pokemon you're against. And then your flying Pokemon, right? So your Flyers are going to beat grass just right off the bat, and then you have electric for the water Pokemon, so you got a nice combo with your flying electric there. And then you got some random ones like Turtonator and Magmar as your fire Pokemon. Turtonator is always one of those like weird limited meta Pokemon with limited typings, because that dragon fire makes it really weird to go against, because you know you're fire, weak to water, but your dragon resists water, so you neutralize it there. And then you have still your Incinerate for your grass Pokemon. And you are dragon, so you resist electric Pokemon. So it's just a nice kind of combo with what is in the meta. So Turtonator should be a lot of places. I guess Chargebug and Stunfisk are also both electric here, even though they're not lit up as yellow. They are both electric, which again will help you with the water Pokemon as long as they're not Mud Boys. And you got Mud Bomb on Stunfisk for your poisons, and then you got X-Scissor for your grass to have an answer for grass. So Pokemon there. Amoonguss has a buffed Astonish, so when you see Astonish it's one of the best, I think probably up there with one of the best fast moves in the game now. So that with grass not for water and Sludge Bomb for grass coverage, right? So really nice coverage there. Cordilli gives you your sort of water coverage. It gives you your flyer coverage with rock. It can do like it neutralizes fire. You can hit super effective with fire with rock. So Cordilli, pretty nice combo. Decently spammy, only 12 to the rock slide and grass knot. And then Magmar, kind of a sneaky one with a Karate Chop. So Karate Chop buff this season, yeah. So only 10 to a Fire Punch with Fire Punch is buffed, and then Scorching Sands 12. So nice coverage. There's a couple things weak to fighting, and there's not a ton. Like Abomasnow is the main one weak to fighters. But, you know, there's a lot of poison and ghost right at the top here. So Morpeko's weak to grass, fighting too. So you have a couple of options for a fast move Pokemon that is fighting. Okay, so I started with Toxapex. As always, you always start with the number 1 Pokemon just to look at the matchups. And the matchups are, not surprising, very, very strong. Bunch of wins. Your toughest is going to be ground Pokemon. So how do you beat a ground Pokemon? Abomasnow. Abomasnow will resist the ground Pokemon because you are grass. Toxapex will also have, I was going to say a little problem with electric. Sorry, it's going to have problems with electric. So ground and electric are the main ones you're going to need to watch out for. And Abomasnow as a grass ice will deal with those. Now, you need a safe swap. And I was looking at the top safe swaps, and Quillfish is one of the top safe swaps. So I'm like, okay, Quillfish also has those duo typing weaknesses, right? It has the electric weakness and it has the ground weakness. So it's basically an ABB style team. So you safe swap Quillfish, try and draw out an electric, try and draw out a ground, spam it with your spammy moveset. Abomasnow will beat the rest of it, and then Toxapex roams free in the back. That is how I would play that team. Team number 2, we have Zapdos, Gastrodon, and Dugong. So I saw Shadow Zapdos up there. Again, I mostly use it in Ultra League, but it's a very, very, very fun Pokemon to use. So started with that, and then what should be your problems? Rock, other electric Pokemon are going to cause you problems. So Gastrodon was the best answer there for a lot of those Pokemon. So that combo there, and then I needed a safe swap. Looking through the rankings, it's on Dugong. And when you have Zapdos, you need some bulk in the back. So put Dugong as your safe swap. And then at the same time, you are double weak to grass on this team. So Dugong, Gastrodon, double weak to grass. So Dugong's not a bad one to try and draw out a grass-ish, because you'd also hit super effective. You can also, unfortunately, draw out a fighter, or you can draw out a electric Pokemon. So it's not exactly, I don't think it's a true like a BB style team that you need to safe swap. I would just play like Zapdos lead out, unless you're like super hard counter there, then I would get into Dugong. So that's probably how I play that team. Number 3, for the safe swap team. So I just basically went through the rankings and looked at what are the safest Pokemon in this meta. And the 2 that are actually pretty safe are Marowak and Charjabug. Again, Marowak buffed sort of Pokemon here. So a lot of coverage for fires, coverage with the ground, coverage for electric with the ground, coverage for grass with the fire. So obviously water is your biggest weakness. So cover the water weakness with Charjabug. Charjabug is also one of the safest. Just has a lot of bulk with it. And then I put in Chow for Alligator too. Yes, it's got some bad matchups because there's a decent amount of grass and electric in this meta. So maybe it's not as safe, but it's still for Alligator. Man, that thing hits so hard. So I don't know if you're truly ever out of it with a Feraligatr, especially with having like an ice coverage there. So there's that. Morpeko Talonflame core. I've covered this core. Someone submitted this core. I think another content creator maybe created this core or used this core. So I basically put them together. I'm like, okay, if it works in Open Great League, let's see if it works in a limited cup. It was actually recommending Jumpluff as a better answer than Talonflame. It has a little more bulk. This meta only has 4 Pokemon, so your Mud Boys, Quagsire, Whiscash, Stunfisk. Stunfisk is not a Mud Boy, but Stunfisk. These are going to be more prevalent than they will be in Open Grave League. So I think Jumpluff, if I'm being quite honest, Jumpluff is probably better core with Morpeko. But I just put this core in because it worked in Open Grave League. Let's test it out here. But then kind of like I said, what is going to be your problems? Your Mud Boys is going to be a problem. Stunfisk is going to be a problem. So one of the best answers to those problems was Trevenant. And Trevenant can act as a decent safe swap. There is more Peko as a dark, but you can hit with grass. And I did not see many normal typings in this meta. Because again, they have to get in as a secondary, and I don't know a ton of normal. I guess there's like Bibarel, but there's not going to be a lot of them. It's safe to say there should not be a lot of normal typings in this meta, which makes your ghost type users a little safer. Quagsire, Turtonator, Ferrothorn. Again, I think the Mud Boys are going to be very strong in this meta. You can hit super effective against fire, super effective against electric, depending it's not like a flying electric, but and then your neutral, depending on your moveset, with against other waters. So it's a pretty nice combo there. Obviously, you're going to have problems with grass. So put in Turtonator as your main answer to grass. That is looking like, okay, you honestly, I just didn't want to use Pokemon like 3 or 4 times, like a Quillfish or something. That would also make you double weak to ground again. So I put in Ferrothorn. I'm worried about a safe swap on this team because each of these Pokemon have strong weaknesses. So I'm not sold on Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn was just in because it covered a lot of the weaknesses, like Gastrodon, right? Gastrodon's kind of like it's going to really beat Turtonator and then good against Quagsire as well. So you need an answer for something like that. So Grass Pokemon was the answer. But I'm not sold on it because it's not the best safe swap. So if you want something safer, it may not be a bad idea to like sub that out, Ferrothorn out, and sub something else in. Or if you want something safer as a grass Pokemon, Credilli. Credilli is, again, very safe because of its insane coverage. You basically cover 3 typings with 1 Pokemon. You cover fire with your rock. You cover water with your grass, and you cover the electric, not truly with the rock, but some of the electric here, like Emolga and Zapdos, covered it with your rock as the flyers. So it's a pretty nice Pokemon to use. Obviously, you're gonna have problems with other grass Pokemon for starters. So I put in Magmar because it was one of the. It's a pretty fun fire Pokemon. Let's check it out. You could go with other fire Pokemon as well. And then Stunfisk. Again, Stunfisk, I think it will have good coverage on your water Pokemon, your flying Pokemon, your fire Pokemon. So I think it's just going to have a lot of coverage in this meta. And then the last team is Decidueye, Quillfish, Whiscash. Basically a cover plus a safe swap. So you have Decidueye, very glassy, but going to destroy pretty much all the waters. And then have problems with fire, and then there's Whiscash for the fires, and then you have Quillfish as your safe swap. So that was the thought process behind that team. So there's going to be 2 weeks of this. So I may show some Ultra League this week, but I know this will still probably pull in more, despite it being on for 2 weeks, might pull in more views. I'm more worried about next week, honestly, when this is on for a second week. Again, there's some strengths and weaknesses to 2 weeks, right? You get it. If you find a team you can run with, you have a chance to run with it for a while, which is obviously a great strength. But it could get stale very quickly. I don't know how wide the meta is going to be. There are a bunch of options. I didn't even cover, like, if you look on that sort of list that's on the screen here, I didn't even cover Superior, which is always Hussein Electrode is always one fun one in this limited cup. Golisopod can act as a safe swap in this meta. Skeldurge. So there's a lot of like other Pokemon that could be played. So I think there's going to be a decent, for only 4 typings, I think there'll be like an okay variety of Pokemon. But we'll see if it just maybe Toxapex dominated. I don't know. We'll see. That is it. I am not tired. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Go play some teams, submit some battles, and link in the description if you are even member or just subscriber. Link in the description. We have 2 weeks of this, so your likelihood of being showcased is way higher when this is on 2 weeks, and this is really one of the only leagues that people are playing. So link in the description if you want to submit. For those of you, just Dan talk. I am a public servant in Canada, and Trudeau, our prime minister, just resigned as the leader of the party, and he's going to step down as PM as soon as they choose someone new. And at the same time, they prorogue Parliament for 2.5 months, which is insane. So what that means is that a bunch of basically work can't get done, and you're like, okay, who cares if politics work can't get done? It limits your ability for the public servants to like the programs and the announcements and stuff like that. So it's actually going to be quite crazy here for the next 2.5 months. So yeah. Anyways, just let's say if I seem more like out of it than normal, it's because work is going to be crazy for the next 2.5 months trying to figure out what all this means. Anyways, fun stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.